Hi everybody, it's Nikki Morrow with To the Moon and Back Behavioral Consulting, and my job is to make your lives as parents easier in the day-to-day. I might be experiencing some technical difficulties. I thought I had it handled, but if for some reason, I'll just take you to the other side of the house where I have better reception, but we'll hang in there here for a little bit. While I'm waiting for some people to get on, I want to let you know that I will be answering questions at the end of these live videos. So if ever you want to stay tuned and ask some questions on my weekly tip from, typically I post those on Wednesdays in a written format. So if you have any questions on those, you go ahead and you can join this conversation and ask me anything pertaining to that. Or if there's just something that you have that you want to ask me about, I will try to take at least maybe one or two, depending on time, two questions at the end of our video. So thanks for joining, and I want to go ahead and get started. So today's topic is understanding your child's behavior. So many of my clients really struggle with, especially the toddler age, of not understanding why these behaviors are occurring in the first place. What what is the reason behind these crazy tantrums and this seamless, meaningless and senseless behavior, right? But there is a rhyme and reason to it. I promise you. It's just a matter of getting the tools to be able to understand your child a little bit better. And that's what I'm going to go over today. This is actually the first thing that I teach any of my clients, any classes I teach. This is what I call my foundations information. The topic is today the ABCs of behavior. This goes back to my training as a behavioral therapist. I used to work with children with special needs and developmental delays in a clinic where I was working side by side a lot of other professions such as speech pathologists, occupational therapists, all those good things. So just a generalized experience in that. But as far as behavior goes, what I first got trained in was the ABCs of behavior. And what this strategy does, what this framework does, is it really kind of gets you almost in the element of a therapist or kind of like a scientist, where you take the emotionality out of things, you take the reaction out of things, because you're able to put it in this framework and really just kind of give yourself a setup to look at things more objectively. And when you are objective, you have a lot less reason to get emotional about things, right? To lose your cool or get frustrated or anxious. So that is what I'm hoping for you guys, is that you're going to take these tools and be able to really practice them. It's not going to be second nature. It's going to take practice, but you'll start to just naturally think of things in this outline. So the A in the ABCs stands for antecedent. So what that means is basically anything that preceded the behavior. So you're going to think of what happened before to kind of trigger the behavior. And B is for the behavior. So that means what happened? What did your child do? What is this behavior that was exhibited? And then C stands for consequence. So how did you react to it? What was the result? Was there discipline? Was there attention given? Was there, did somebody laugh because it was silly or funny? Different things like that. So what was the reaction to that behavior from others, basically? And then S is the setting event. So setting event is anything ecological or environmental, situational, that would affect your child's behavior, that would influence their behavior. So for example, the amount of sleep that they got, are they feeling sick? Did they not eat? Have you guys been running errands like crazy people all day and they're just totally exhausted? Those are, ecological, situational events that would definitely influence your child's behavior. So The way that I recommend utilizing this framework is because what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take this framework and you're going to make notes throughout the day of what behaviors occur, right? So that you don't forget. You know, usually at the end of the day we're so burnt out that we're like, oh, you know, that really drove me crazy, but what was that? What happened, right? So it's just a matter of jotting down like a quick note in like a notebook that you carry with you, or on the chalkboard that you have in your kitchen, or whatever it is, just something really quick so that you can go back at the end of the day and be like, oh yeah, like what was that? And then at the end of the day, once your kids are asleep, once there's peace and quiet in the house, try to just take a few of those behaviors that occurred and put them into the ABCs format. So, you know, again, A, antecedent, what preceded or triggered the event. B, the behavior that occurred from your child. C, what were the consequences or the results of it. And S is the setting event. So, that is what I recommend doing, because again, it'll put you in the mindset of being more of an objective observer rather than in the midst of things. And then what'll happen is, the beauty of this is that you're going to go ahead and start seeing patterns. You're going to see patterns not only in your child's behavior, but in your behavior as well. And you're probably going to start seeing that, oh, yeah, I've been inadvertently reinforcing these behaviors. I've been, rewarding behaviors that I didn't want to necessarily reward, and that's why they're continuing, or different things like that. You're going to start noticing these patterns emerging, and once you start noticing these patterns emerging, then you're going to really be able to make sense of these behaviors, and then be able to get in front of these behaviors, which is the awesome part. Is you're gonna be able to then start thinking, okay, what can I do to set my child and myself up for success in these situations? So I wrote down some, kind of like to plug in some examples for you. So, the example that I put was, my daughter. Okay, so Jocelyn wants to walk independently in the store, right? This is something that she always wants to do. She wants to be able to walk around in Trader Joe's and get her own little kitty shopping cart, which is kind of the vein of, I think, most parents' existence. But it really does give them a sense of independence, and they really love it. So I try to, allow that. But anyways, yeah. So okay, so the behavior would be the antecedent, is that she walks independently in the store. That's what preceded it. So the behavior that occurred would be that she starts to touch things and pull things off the shelves and put things into the basket that we're not getting, right? So I put the C, the consequence, what occurred. I gave you two options. One option is, if I didn't have any training in this and I didn't know how to respond, some parents that I work with, what they would do is they would just keep nagging, saying, stop touching that, stop touching that. No, we don't touch that. No, come on, stop. Why are you doing this? And then just getting more and more frustrated, trying to rush through the store to prevent this inevitable meltdown. And then just getting more upset and frazzled along the way, right? So that would be something that would happen. And then you would just, in that instance, the kids getting away with doing what they're doing. So thus that behavior is getting reinforced. They're just getting away with it, right? So the second consequence, coming from more of my background and my training, would be to, I would let my daughter know that, it's not okay to grab things without permission. You need to ask first. If you're not going to ask first, that's going to tell me that you need my help to follow the rule. And what's going to happen is you're going to lose your independence, and you're going to have to be put into the shopping cart. You're going to have to sit in the shopping cart. So that could be a consequence. And in that way, the behavior is not getting reinforced. And there's that boundary, that clear boundary being set, right? So those would be the two options. And then the setting event would be that, I picked my daughter up from school. She was in school all day, and, she's hungry. She usually doesn't end up sleeping at school because she doesn't like to miss out on anything. So she stays awake the whole time. So she's super tired. And, again, the hunger, the idea of there being crowds, different things like that could be a setting event. So what could we do to, go ahead and start predicting behavior, right? So the patterns that emerge in this example would be that every time we go to the store, my child wants something. My child wants to touch everything, right? So that would be a pattern that I would just start to become aware of, is this is something that happens every time we go to the store. So that kind of indicates to me, hey, I need to take some preventative measures in that regard to stop this from happening in the first place. So patterns in my behavior that I could start seeing is that sometimes I give in, sometimes I don't. There's inconsistency. So my daughter doesn't know the clear boundary that's in place because sometimes I allow it, sometimes I don't. That's confusing. That's confusing for us, that's confusing for them. So, and then sometimes maybe I lose my cool, or sometimes I get social anxiety and I just give her what she wants so that she'll be quiet and people stop staring at us, right? So all these different things kind of contribute. And then is there a pattern in my behavior where I try to get too much done at one time, and I'm pushing, and it's just not appropriate, it's not feasible for my child and what they're capable of doing at that moment in time. So those are patterns that emerge both in the child's behavior and potentially in the mother or the parent's behavior, right? So then you start to look at the preventative measures that can be taken, right? So in this example, what you could start saying is, maybe I'll bring a snack. And that way that at least will take the edge off for the hunger cranky, the hangry. And maybe what I tell parents all the time is to go over the rules and the expectations before you even get to the store, right? And that's what I do, is that I go ahead and I tell my daughter, okay, Jocelyn, we're going for XYZ. That's all we're going for. We're not getting, any toys or any candy or anything like that on this trip. If you want a little kitty shopping cart, if it's not too busy or too crowded, you're more than welcome to, as long as you follow the rules, different things like that. I would have gone over the rules for, walking with the shopping cart, making sure you're paying attention, different things like that. And, another preventative measure might be to go on days when my child is not going to school. So that way I can go a little bit earlier. She's not as exhausted from being in school all day and playing all day, just to set myself up for success and her up for success. And also, maybe another strategy might be to keep her engaged, give her some sort of job, like, Jocelyn, can you find the onions, or can you find the spinach? Ooh, do you see some garlic? Asking her to look for things and engage her in that way, so she stays occupied and she has less opportunity to get into mischief or break the rules per se. So that was kind of a quick example of how to really take this framework of the ABCs and refine it down, apply it. Of course, it takes practice, and it's gonna be hard to kind of really get this worked out at first, but the more and more that you do it, the more comfortable you'll be with it, and then you'll be able to identify these things and, like I said, get in front of these behaviors before they even occur, and just start brainstorming ways to prevent them in the first place. But of course, having a professional eye, somebody that you can go to in these times where you're like, okay, I think I'm doing this right, but it's not getting me the results. That's where professional eye, somebody that's not in the midst of your situation, can come from outside and kind of give you some tips and strategies. So that's where somebody like me, a parent coach, or somebody can come in and really give you that information so that you can be successful and you can learn these strategies inside and out. So I would like to see if any of you have any questions for me. I am definitely here to answer any questions. Thank you guys for joining. Again, we're talking about the ABCs of behavior: antecedent, behavior, consequence, and setting, event, and how they're applied. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me. And hi, SoCal Mama Life. Thanks for joining. And I know that you have a background in this as well, so it's nice to see you on here. I'm starting to wrap up, so I'm sorry that you guys are just joining, but I will go ahead and save this so that you can review it. And again, if you have any questions, always feel free to go ahead and DM me, leave me comments, give me a call for your free mini session. Phone number is 909-478-2111, and I'd love to hear from you. Schedule that mini session. And that is it. Sorry for the kind of the glitches in and out. Thought we had it covered, but I'll make sure it's working next time. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later and see you guys soon. Also, I wanted to mention that I do have a proactive parenting group on Facebook, as well as if you want to make sure that you get my information and my newsletters and every tidbit of information that I give out for free, go ahead and go to my website at tothemoonparentcoaching.com and go ahead and subscribe, and I'll add you to my email list, and you'll get any type of information that I give out, any updates on classes, anything like that I'm offering. And that is it. So take care and have a wonderful day. And next time you join me, bring your questions and I'll love to answer them and have a dialogue. All right, take care. Bye-bye.